Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. It's Friday. That means it's time for the Rex and the Robbie Show, and that's the show where we gather and we talk about some of the more significant pop culture news of the week, whether it be movies, comics, television, whatever. That's what we do here, and you can't have the Rex and the Robbie Show without Robbie. That's me, and of course, my homie Rex. What is up, my man?
What's up, man? How you doing on this happy Friday?
I am hot. It is freaking hot in this studio, and I have the AC
on. You're not a bad-looking dude, but I wouldn't get crazy, all right?
What's the weather like up there? Is y'all been as steamy as we've been down here?
Actually, the heat wave broke over the weekend. It's been really nice. Today's a little cloudy and a little rainy, but it's actually even a little bit cooler. So I was able to open the windows in my house last couple nights. So
I'm so jealous.
A little bit on the AC, man. Dude,
the AC jealous. So jealous,
dude.
Brother.
It was running when I was on vacation because of the two cats, man. You know, so it's been brutal. You do live in Alabama. I mean, come on, dude. You kind of expect that, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the Northeast, man. I don't expect that kind of heat. So, hey, everybody, GT Key, Raul,
Perry says we need a topless stream since it's so hot up in here.
All right, let's not get crazy, Perry. Oh man, 75, nice. That's the perfect temperature.
No. 75 inside. I don't think he means that as a good thing down in Florida, because he's down in Florida. I don't think he means that as a good thing. I don't know though. But anyway.
Oh yeah, in Florida it's probably pretty hot.
OUG's got the whole discussion already for us. Gal Gadot is still Wonder Woman. Okie dokie. Kraven, Spider-Verse delayed. Kind of expected. There, I handled it. Now let's tackle something else. Show's over.
All right, see y'all. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. What's up, Raul? What's up, Dynamite? What's up, Two Gun? How y'all doing?
I guess we know where OUG stands on the particular issue at hand. So at least
let's get right into it then. Recently on a podcast, I think it was the comicbook.com podcast or something like that, or maybe they're the ones that reported it. But Gal Gadot said that she's in talks with James Gunn to do Wonder Woman 3, which immediately made a lot of people happy and also pissed off a lot of people because once again, all the Henry Cavill fans came out and they were like, why keep Wonder Woman if not Superman? My idea is this. Just because she's talking to James Gunn and Peter Safran about doing another Wonder Woman film, like a Wonder Woman 3, doesn't mean that it's connected to their DCU, knowing that we have Elseworlds. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. What do you think overall about this news, Rex? And you out there in the chat.
You know, I would be super careful about making any assumptions at this point, okay? So you and I talked about this before we started the show. Henry Cavill quit The Witcher under the assumption he was going to continue to be Superman. We all saw how that worked out. Not so good. All right. So you got to be careful. You know, Gal Gadot may be talking to them. Doesn't mean anything's going to happen. All right. And I think, you know, Cavill is a prime example of that. He quit a very, very successful streaming series, putting the entire series at risk. All right. You know, I don't know how this Switch is going to work out. I heard there was some rumor he may be coming back. Who knows?
Now, I have heard, because I was talking about this week, Rex. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was talking about this week, and a lot of people were like, he didn't necessarily leave to do Superman, but that was a reason, like it was something that helped him leave. But apparently, because I don't know if you watch The Witcher, because I don't. Apparently, they took a big turn from the lore in the latest season. Apparently, he also wasn't happy about that because he was actually a fan of the books or games or whatever. I've never seen or heard or read anything Witcher, so I'm not the person to talk about with this. But I heard that it was that and a mix of other things, like his disappointment and where they were going on. Oh, there's OUG right there saying so.
Yeah, I got to disagree with that. Because and nothing against OUG. I'm not saying it wasn't going, you know, getting away from the lore, but you got caught in the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson controversy. You quit because The Rock was telling you, you're my Superman. It's going to be Black Adam, Superman in the final battle. You the man. I can't see anybody else in this role. Henry Cavill goes, oh, okay. You know what? I'd like to be Superman again. And he goes and becomes Superman. And then it turns out they don't want him as Superman. Now, I'm sorry, but that kind of makes you look stupid, doesn't it? You know, you quit a series that was very successful. I believe that if Cavill really had a problem with the direction it was taken, he would sort of have that influence to say, hey, we're getting off lore. Okay. Not saying it would dramatically change anything, but I think he had enough influence as a start, because the real question now is, can The Witcher survive now? We don't know. All right. So what are you going to say at that point? You got egg on your face. I quit a really good job because I thought I had this other job, and it turned out that was all a bunch of hooey. And now I'm caught with egg in my face, and now what? So, OUG, I don't know. I again, all of that kind of mixes up at one time in one bundle.
Carrie, it doesn't matter what Henry Cavill has been recorded as saying. Rex has got the scoop, I guess.
Well, I mean, you can look at it however you want to look at it, okay? But obviously, he's not going to be Superman. So the Gal Gadot, I really, Henry Cavill not being Superman anymore, I was okay with that. I thought he was good Superman. I wouldn't have minded if he continued in the role, but it wasn't like, okay, let's try something new. Wonder Woman was a little different because Superman, we saw many Supermen. Okay, many actors fill that role, whether it be in a TV series or in a movie or whatever. Okay, so we're kind of looking at that. But with Wonder Woman, other than Gal Gadot, we're really looking back at Linda Carter. So there really hasn't been that. So when she came out in success of the first one, and I gotta be honest, I was one of the people that really liked 1984. Okay, there we go. I didn't, was it as good as the first one? No, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was all right. But regardless, so I have no real problem. But she becomes that defining character, kind of like Christopher Reeves, Superman, Michael Keaton, Batman. Because it really hadn't been done before she did it. So if they wanted to bring her back, I wouldn't have a big problem with it. But it does lend to that question. If you're going to reboot, that's fine. Now all of a sudden you're kind of hedging both ways. Now, is this a Gunn Safran decision? I don't know. Maybe it is. Okay. Is it once again the ugly head of corporate sticking their nose into places where it doesn't belong, where they're pressuring Gunn and Safran? Maybe in a month we hear that they're going to walk because they're not going to be pressured into doing something they don't want to do. I don't know. Okay. Or maybe they really see something there. So I got to admit, it wasn't the world's best script, blood splatter, but I enjoyed it. Okay. It definitely weaker than, the first one, but there could have been. There we go,
Perry. Right. Perry, you're thirsty today, man. It's too hot in your apartment or your house or whatever.
Get bored. So I don't know, but I think that from a fan perspective, it is concerning because it does have the elements of that disorganization that happened before Gunn and Safran came in. All right, my opinion is Zaslav not too much better than it was before. Okay. I just heard that during their quarterly shareholder meeting, his chief financial officer went ahead and said, yeah, I forget what the number was it 10 million or something like that, or 100 million? I don't even know. And he said, yeah, we saved that because of the writer's strike and the actor's strike. Talk about being not in touch with the people. Yeah. Okay. Your audience, your customers, that was probably the single dumbest thing that they could say. Do they need to share that information with shareholders? They do. They can bury that in the long 10Q that they have to release before the meeting. Okay. You don't make a point of it during your speech. Like, oh, by the way, we saved a whole boatload of money thanks to the strike. That is totally contrary to everything. So do I believe that? And then I heard that when they rebranded to Max, they lost something like 1.8 million subscribers. All right. So it seems like they are doing what they normally do. Okay. But don't worry, Zaslav says they've got Max Live coming up. He's going to talk about that. Shocker. The reality show king is excited about HBO Live, or rather Max Live. Okay. I don't know what you're going to do with that. Okay. Other than maybe carry football games, baseball games. I don't know. But what live show could interest me on Max? I don't know. Okay.
Dancing with the Stars or something like that.
Yeah. This is not. So it sounds like he's going to bring what I told you was going to happen. Okay. You put the Discovery CEO in charge of the whole thing. Okay. Instead of a Warner CEO. What's he going to do? He's going to turn Max into a reality channel. So we're going to get more Survivor, more Big Brother. Okay. Yay. So, yeah. So I think, yeah, I did see that OUG. I did. And I couldn't have laughed harder. Okay. I give kids this much. We talk about, the next generation. Hey, it seems like they got they've got a pretty good feel for the pulse of things.
Huh.
So I don't know. I am concerned. Would I be disappointed they brought Gal Gadot back? No, I would not at all. I loved her as Wonder Woman. She is the defining movie Wonder Woman for me, right? And for a lot of people, I'm sure. But what it signals, I think, is a little wary. I'm a little wary of.
Have you been able to catch Flash yet? I don't know if that's streaming yet. Okay. No. I know it's available digitally. I don't know if it's streaming yet, but in Flash, Wonder Woman's in it. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman's in the movie. And another element in the movie is that Ben Affleck is Batman, of course, right? But then after Barry changes stuff, there's a different Batman in his universe at the end of the film, right? And do you want me to tell you who it was? Who it is?
George Clooney.
Yeah, it's George Clooney, right? Yeah, George Clooney.
It's too late now. All the spoilers are out. I'll watch it when I watch it.
So you know how, like, remember when James Gunn was doing all that BS? Would be like, oh no, Flash is setting up what's to come, and Blue Beetle's going to be. And we all knew this was just lip service because he's part of his job is to make sure that the next DC movies before his officially start don't really tank too bad. But that's not working for him. You know what I'm saying? By the way, Barbie has now made more money in total right now, like just a few weeks in, than the entirety of Shazam 2 and Flash's theatrical run, which is ridiculous. But there you go. What was I saying? What was I saying, Rex? I lost my train of thought because I got distracted by Barbie.
You're using too many hair products. It's affecting your thinking.
Yeah, and I'm sweating, so it's like getting into my pores and like leaking into my brain or whatever. Here's the thing. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, like, oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the Flash, you know, like maybe that's what James Gunn was talking about. Like, you know, he changed reality, so Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman in another reality now, or something like that. Honestly, if they recast Wonder Woman for the DCU, I wouldn't care as long as it was a good movie with a good cast. If they don't recast Gal Gadot and they just have her start fresh as the Wonder Woman of James Gunn's DCU, I would be cool with that because I do like her in the role. I thought the first movie was good. I think it had some third act problems. I did not like 1984. When I got done watching that movie, all I could think of was I renounce my wish. But she is great in the movies regardless, whether it's the Justice League films or it's the Batman versus Superman. She as Wonder Woman, I adore her as Wonder Woman. I think she's great. I love the look. I love the style. I love the voice. I love her presence. I love the way she carries that. So I wouldn't mind it. But I'm thinking more like, is he just kind of doing like, you know, they got Matt Reeves' Batman stuff going on. That's an Elseworld. They got the Joker stuff with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. That's an Elseworld. Maybe they're just going to do a Wonder Woman 3 as an Elseworld, and she's actually not part of the DCU going forward. Would that be confusing to people? Would you like that idea? What do you think?
I think that at this point, you know, we're just trying to see that they don't do the same dumb mistakes they've been doing year after year after year. And the concern about this is that same kind of directionless feeling that we were getting from DC and the back and forth and the hard U-turns and all that stuff, right? So I do agree with Marcus, though. That is a danger. If they don't recast Gal Gadot, people are going to ask why they had to recast Cavill. I mean, that I see happening. So that could be a very real kind of consequence. But then, you know, I don't know. You recast Gal Gadot, and you know the Gadot fans are going to absolutely crucify whoever, you know, replaces her. You know, the comparison will be, you know, inevitably made, you know, between the two Wonder Womans. So I don't know. You know, again, OUG, you're right. And that's the concern I have overall, is that are we moving again down that road where corporate and creative can't get along, and there's these different, and depending on who has power that week in the power structure that exists, you know, who's pulling one way, who's pulling the other way, which is a problem that's plagued DC, obviously, since the whole Zack Snyder, Josh Whedon, you know, Justice League debacle, right?
Yeah.
So, and certainly probably before then as well. But right now we're looking for that James Gunn, Peter Safran kind of, I don't know, guidance to take us out of this. But so far it hasn't looked great. Okay, so you have this Gal Gadot thing. You obviously had the debacle that was the Flash, but that really wasn't their fault. We're looking at Blue Beetle. I mean, what are you thinking?
Blue Beetle is projected to severely underperform even to their low expectations. And Aquaman 2 reshooting again, probably delayed till 2024.
Right.
They should Batgirl that one, unfortunately, I think.
Well,
just let us have that $1 billion Aquaman movie. Just let us have that one. You know what I'm saying?
I don't see them. I don't see them Batgirling Aquaman. Okay,
no,
because obviously you have a track record. Jason Momoa is too big a draw. Okay, they'll put the thing together just so Jason Momoa can walk around. Okay, so I don't see them shelving this one. But the delays are inevitable. We saw that coming. Okay, because of the writer's strike, and then you've got the actor's strike. So we knew that anything that was slated to come out was going to get pushed back. So that's not really a surprise to anyone, I don't think. But I do think the direction that we're seeing, and then the overall lackluster response to Blue Beetle is concerning.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, 62 Lefty, what's up, buddy?
You know,
it's actually Rex Rant number 195. Just to be clear,
he did 2 today. One thing that we do know is that there are certain characters and actors playing those characters that are going to survive into James Gunn's universe, right? Including John Cena as Peacemaker, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Like, we know that those are carrying over. So why not a Gal Gadot Wonder Woman? Why not Jason Momoa Aquaman? You know, I mean, you could do it. Like, it's fine because they did introduce the concept of the multiverse, which is not any kind of... I remember back in the day, Rex, people used to be like, oh man, that would be way too confusing to the general audience to have like a multiverse. And now it's like everybody's doing a multiverse. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
there's like going to be a Fast X multiverse one day. Now, this makes me think of something. And this would be genius. So if James Gunn, if you're listening, you can have this idea. You just run with it. So everybody, the new guy who's playing Superman, the guy that was in Pearl, he was the projectionist. He's in other things, but that's what I know him from. A lot of people are like, oh, he just looks like a younger, poor man's Henry Cavill, right? Maybe that's so intentional because maybe one of the things they want to do is bring in Ultraman from Earth 3, a meaner, gnarlier, maybe possibly an older Superman. Wouldn't it be crazy if one day in this whole DCU from James Gunn and Peter Safran, we get Earth 3, the crime syndicate, and Henry Cavill shows up as like an older, evil, gnarly version of Superman? That could be cool, right?
I don't think they're that far out, dude. I think they're just trying to... I just think at this point they're trying to release a film that's actually going to make money.
Yes, you're right. That's their first priority.
Yeah, they're at this point scratching their heads going, now what? You know? So, and unfortunately, they're fighting two things. You know, as we see, the MCU has not had a whole lot of success of late as well. They're fighting that, call it what you will, superhero fatigue. But they're in a worse position than the MCU because the MCU has had successes right up until that point where they're hitting that wall. Now they are trying to turn it around and hitting the wall at the same time over DCU. And it's clear that whatever James Gunn magic was going on, maybe Blue Beetle was not the right choice. Okay. You know, maybe the difference between that and Guardians was the interaction of the characters. And the one difference is that Guardians came in during a time when the MCU was very strong. Okay. It seemed like everything was flying out the doors.
Yeah.
And this was a surprise. Now you're asking James Gunn to save the entire franchise. Slightly different scenario, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you know, he's not the one who was behind Blue Beetle. That's once again from the regime before him, but he has come out and said things like, oh, he's the first character of the DCU, but Superman Legacy is the first DCU movie, maybe meaning that like this version of Blue Beetle, we're going to, because you know, you got to hedge your bets. Like if this is a successful film, maybe we'll like keep it going, and it's probably not. I think it's going to fail miserably, but I'm excited to check it out. I actually think it looks good. Like I said before, I'll check out anything with Mickey from Cobra Kai in it. I love that cat.
So I don't know. I do kind of feel like, and of course, the writer's strike and the actor's strike is a further obstacle they have to work with around before they can get anything off the ground. And it's just, I don't know. It is just a sequence of very bad events, and some of their own making, no doubt. And I got to be honest, I'm not optimistic. I don't see how they crawl out of this hole.
Well, one good thing that they got going for them right now is that Marvel seems to be really disappointing a lot of people. And this wasn't something I was planning on really diving into because I haven't seen the series. But were you keeping up with Secret Invasion?
A little bit. And
there
yeah,
is a
you're right.
very lackluster response to that. It's the first Disney property, like Marvel show, to go rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that we care about that here, but it's a good kind of like way to kind of gauge things. But everybody I knew that loved Secret Invasion as it was going on hated the end of that show, man. Marvel's really losing some steam, I think. What do you think?
I would agree. I think it has been, again, a lot of it is the superhero fatigue. And I think that Barbie and Oppenheimer proves that. The success that you've seen there proves that, people are just sick of seeing superheroes. They don't want to see it anymore. It's that kind of same format, same cookie cutter type of thing. You look at the last few and you're going to see the same thing. Okay, there's a bad guy. There's a hero. Hero might have additional heroes to work with. Okay, there's some world shattering conflict or issue going on, and they must save the day. And the only thing that varies is perhaps where they are, like the little details. But ultimately, it's the same story over and over and over again. And people are like, okay. So we look at Barbie, we look at Oppenheimer, and why was that so different? And it was different because no superheroes. The story is obviously Oppenheimer, has a very deep story, but Barbie even has a deeper story than you would think on the surface. And it's dealing with issues that are different than what we see in the average superhero film or series or whatever. I think maybe we've come to a point where we want to watch something else. There isn't one big evil bad guy all the time. Maybe it's a lot of different things, but we're just tired of seeing the same thing. And I think that has a lot to do with it. I think it's a fatigue issue, and they're churning out too much.
We always talk about Hollywood getting the wrong messages from success, sometimes. And, they were like, well, Barbie is so hugely successful. We're obviously doing a Barbie 2. We're like, that's good. You read the room right, Warner Brothers. Like, that's what you need to do. You need to do another Barbie movie, but you still got to make it like what made this one special. But then they go, plus, we're going to use all these other Mattel properties. We got a Barney movie. We got a Polly Pocket movie coming out. I'm like, you're getting the wrong ideas again. Just because Barbie was successful does not mean that we need a Barbie type movie about Barney. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. This seems ridiculous to me, bro. So they're the Barbie cinematic universe, the BCU. All right, let's jump over. We mentioned the delays in certain films because of the writer strike, the actor strike. So Sony has shuffled their whole release schedule around. They have delayed Kraven, which was supposed to come out in October. We just got our first trailer for it. A lot of people online really responded well to that trailer. That's been delayed to next August. They're saying it's because of the actor strike. They want the actors there to promote the movie and things like that. I think there's also an element where they like, oh man, this trailer's getting good traction. We need to rethink this movie because it sucks. But that's just me putting my own impression on the trailer. But the other news, and I think that this has less to do with the strike and more to do with the working conditions of the animators. Sony, the third Spider-Verse film, delayed indefinitely. Don't know when that's coming out. No date attached to that. What do you think about these delays? And obviously there are other delays, other things reshifting, and this is going to be happening until they resolve the strike situation.
I think that, things were getting pushed back for a variety of reasons before the strike even started, right? So now the strike provides you an easy go-to excuse for wanting to push it back. And now, is some of it because of the strike? Of course it is. But I think that now, even if you were planning to do it, if there were no strike, you're going to blame it on the strike, right? It's an easy go-to. Like, the writer's strike, the actor's strike. It's delaying everything. We're going to have to push back. So, I'm not terribly surprised by that. Again, to me, it's like when you got a CEO of a studio head that's making, $100 million a year, and you've got writers and crew that are struggling trying to make like 21,000 a year, you got a problem. Okay. You got a problem and you need to resolve it. And in the end for them, I don't know the books. I don't know how long it is before you start to lose money. But to me, maybe it's a good thing for the studios even. Okay. Because obviously we need a break. I think somebody, JBlue68, I see what you're saying. You don't know the difference between superhero fatigue in Western films and horror films and gangster films. I understand the point you're trying to make, but I would also disagree to a certain extent, because even with Westerns, okay, although Westerns, that's certainly probably your best analogy, because it's been a genre that has existed for so long. But what we've seen within that genre is that they've been able to make different types of films within that setting. See, that was the key. All right, so you have things as goofy as spaghetti westerns, early Clint Eastwood, Fistful of Dollars kind of movies. Then you had, which I thought was a groundbreaker, was Silverado, which came out years ago, which kind of shifted that dynamic a little bit. And then you've had tons of other ones that have come out that have had, just kind of, what was it? Shanghai Nights. Okay. Another look at it. So it was a genre that could exist because they kept adapting it and refreshing it and writing a good story behind it. So I think, Unforgiven. Okay. That's probably your best example. When you look at early Clint Eastwood, Fistful of Dollars, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, okay, doing his spaghetti westerns. And then you look at Unforgiven at the tail end of his career. That's the range that Westerns have. Horror movies, same thing. Yes. Okay. Did they make too many Friday the 13th? Yes. Did they make, did they beat that one with with a stick until it was a dead horse? Yes. Okay. But then there have been very interesting and novel ones. Okay. I hated Blair Witch Project, but when that came out, that was definitely a new spin on so many levels, right? So again, a genre that's really, really big that if you want to, The Fly, the new one, with Jeff Goldblum, that you're able to redefine within the genre, write something totally new with a totally new approach, with a totally new storyline that works. They haven't done that with superheroes. It's the same cookie cutter story. So in lieu of trying to be original, and think of a new way to deal with that genre, all they've done is they've taken the lazy route. We're still going to make the same sort of movie, but to generate that interest into the next one, then what we're going to do is we're going to have all these cameos and crossovers. Okay, same story, but look who's there. Stay past the end credits. Okay, for the Easter eggs. Okay, but they haven't really done anything. Okay, so you move these characters. They had a cameo. Now you got another movie. It's the same damn movie. And then, okay, cameo, and then we're going to make another movie, same damn movie again. So that's why I think you got that fatigue. Outlaw Josie Wales, Snake, I love that one as well. That was like, I look at that as Clint Eastwood's middle career, right? Redefining the Western genre again. All right. Billy, I know you're a huge Snyderverse fan, but bro, I mean, it's like what's happened is not Schneider's fault, nor is it Gunn's fault. What has happened has been mismanagement by Warner, now Discovery Warner, for years and years and years, with a very, very valuable vault of IP, and they kept screwing it up. Yeah, it's not about Schneider, it's not about Gunn, it's not even about Josh Whedon. They could never pick a direction, go with it. Okay, whether it was the Schneider version or the Gunn version or whatever, that was something Marvel did a lot better than they did. Okay, they had the Feige vision and they went with that. Okay, you cannot have musical chairs at that level, and you cannot let corporate rule creative. Creative develops your product. Okay, So once corporate gets its hands in it, that's where you get, Polly Pocket movies and, Barney movies. And, some corporate guy says, oh my God, look, we have this list of IP. This should work just as good as Barbie. No, it won't.
No, it
Right?
won't. Like
It won't. Not
Polly
close.
Pocket does not have the legs that Barbie does. No pun intended.
Right. But execs are looking at spreadsheets going, well, this should work. This should work. This should work. Okay. So, it's just, that's why I think that all these superhero movies, whether it's MCU or DCU, is starting to do this. You're not doing anything really interesting. Secret Invasion's same formula. You're just throwing it up there and taking your big names that you have, your big stars that you can throw in there, and we're going to do it real quick. That's why CGI has been so poor. When you look at all these companies that are doing CGI, they all say the same. They give us impossible deadlines. Okay. You got other companies trying to undercut. So you're making less and making more for less because they're slapping these things together so fast. They're really not concerned about the quality anymore.
Yeah. I got to agree with Marcus real quick. I think Strawberry Shortcake would work. And the thing is, you got to bring back smell-o-vision for that one. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the whole thing with those toys, was that they smelled like
Barbie,
strawberries and blueberries and stuff like that.
But Barbie is always going to be different. Okay. That's something that has existed for how long? Okay. It's really, nobody says Barbie anywhere in the world and not know what you're talking about. That's a fact. Okay. You talk about Strawberry Shortcake or a Cabbage Patch Dolls. Yeah. There's a good chunk of the world that has no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think Strawberry Shortcake and the rest of them fall within that. Care Bears. Okay.
I can't wait for this shared universe with Care Bears, Polly Pocket, Barbie, Barney, and Rainbow DCU. Bright. I don't know what all the Mattel, if they're going to do it, if Mattel's going to really do it, then really do it. And let's get that He-Man Masters of the Universe Barbie crossover that we've all been wanting our whole lives.
It's going to turn into, Transformers, which really has a very interesting history when you look at it, right? Came out as action figures, then morphed into a animated series, and then eventually morphed into movies. Now that is an unusual path, okay? But again, not the way they're talking about right now. So I just think if you jump into Mattel's IP, vault, call it what you will, you're not going to be able to turn all these into movies.
A Ken spinoff should be a He-Man movie. Okay, I'm down with
a pretty good idea.
And yeah, like OUG, I 100% agree, because that Jim and the Holograms movie they tried to give us was bullshit, and they definitely need to actually. Jim and the Holograms, one of the greatest animated series of all times. Okay, I'm just going to say that. I love Jim and the Holograms. Great music, great fashion, glitter and glamour, fashion and fame. You know how it is. It's outrageous. It's truly, truly outrageous. And we need a good Jim and the Holograms movie. I would agree with that. I think that's Mattel, actually. So I'll tell you this. Kraven being delayed. It was one of the movies that I had on my list for October. So I'm like, man, I'm always trying to justify my movie pass. Right, Rex? Like, me and John, we got our little movie memberships, and
yep.
I pay $20 a month. So I'm like, I need at least 2 movies a month to justify having this. And then I was looking, I was like, oh, September's looking slim. Then they moved Saw X up to September. So I'm like, okay, I'm good in September. Now they're moving Kraven away. And I'm like, man, now October is going to be the one where I'm like, oh, it's all like, I'm going to have to go watch the Exorcist movie or something like that, which I'm not looking forward to. But aside from that aspect of it, which is super minor, I don't care. I mean, if you want to move it to next August, that's fine. Maybe they think it'll perform better. Maybe they looked at some stuff. Maybe they do really think that they need to have a big push with the actors present, to do all the interviews and stuff to really help it kind of work, especially being an October movie. That's, usually horror movies can work in October, and they've had success with Venom, for instance, and Joker was an October movie. So there's a lot of expectation there. Spider-Verse 2 was so freaking good. One of the best movies I've seen this entire year. Second only to Oppenheimer for me. But I think, especially everything that we hear about how overworked the animators were on the last Spider-Verse movie, take as long as you need to make that movie, because you cannot rush a part 3 to conclude this trilogy and have it not be as good as 1 and 2, whether it's through story and characterization or through the innovation in the animation techniques. The Spider-Verse films, both of them, are so amazing. You cannot rush that third one. You got to give them time. You got to give them space, money to have that creative freedom to continue making these movies as significant and innovative as they are, I think.
No, I would agree. I mean, we've come to the point where it feels like, they're producing stuff just to get it out there. All right, to collect the money. And then they're always surprised when it doesn't really work. It's like the audience is not stupid. And I think, again, I go back to Barbie and Oppenheimer. I think it's proven that. They're still there. Okay. It's still something that's sustainable, even though it is dying. And we've talked about that before. But you haven't been giving people what they want. You've been giving people what you think they should want. And there's a big difference between the two. And that's the thing. You can put lipstick on a pig. It's still bacon at the end of the day. And that's what they're trying to do. And they're trying to put different types of lipstick on the same pig and convince you it's a different pig. Okay. And it's not working. They need to go back, step back, and rethink. I hate to say it. When you get to the point where you've got series after series after series come out, and I think Marvel had some inkling of this. What was that? What was that TV show they released? With right after the Avengers. It was on network.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah. Okay. I watched like a season of it and I'm like, meh. Okay. That should have been the example. Your stories have to have something to offer on their own. And they haven't really.
Yeah. I remember they would because they really got us going on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 1. They were like, oh, no. This is very important. It's very connected. They had Nicholas Fury. They had Nick Fury in the first one, right? They had Samuel Jackson. They had Maria Hill. I remember at one point when Dark World had come out or something, they're like, it's going to be a tie-in. We got Jamie Alexander as Sif. And it was just like a little cameo thing. It wasn't even ultimately tied into anything. And by the end of it, none of it mattered. Coulson's still dead to the MCU. None of that was mattered. And things they developed in there, like the Kree, or say Ghost Rider or anything or the Inhuman, whatever they were trying to do, none of that stuck with the MCU. And they wrote that off so easily, so quickly. They should have learned.
So OUG, close, but the rule, in marketing is not giving people what they think they want. It's giving people what they don't know they want yet. Okay. That's the difference. Although I see what you're saying. You can never get, how do I put this? What they're doing now is they're trying to give you something they think you want, that you should want. And they're missing the mark. It's like somebody put the Wookiee in the pants. Totally. All right. I totally agree with that. It's like, really? That's what you see? The naked Wookiee? That's not the point. And, that's been DC's problem for a long time. It's maybe slowly becoming an MCU problem. I don't know. Okay. Or is it for MCU just a matter of saturation? They've been bombarding us for the last 2 years. Okay, you can't wake up without some series, some movie coming out. So, maybe in a way they do need to pull back a little bit. I love prime rib, but I can't be eating it every day.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, maybe, give me a salad or something. So again, I feel like Barbie and Oppenheimer has really driven this fact home. And if they don't get it now, okay, as you say, if the only thing the execs get is, okay, somebody forward me the list of IPs that we have and let's make a movie, okay, then you got the wrong message.
Yeah.
That's not the message. And I think it's been convenient, advantageous, I think, for them to learn the lesson is that Barbie and Oppenheimer have very little in common, okay? One talks about an iconic doll that's been around for almost, 80 years, 100 years. The other one talks about the one and only time that a thermonuclear device was dropped on the civilian population. So they're very different. But what is similar is these are stories that have not been told in a really long time. There are no superheroes in it. There are no supervillains in it. Okay. All right. Barbie, haven't seen it, but I would say that being a doll is not necessarily a superpower. Although the way she had her foot, that might be a superpower. All right. But there's nothing shooting out of her hands. There's no super strength. There's no claws coming out of her hands. Oppenheimer is a historical biopic, if you will. Okay, talking about a significant history in the past in World War II. So the lesson there is that, hey, we need something more. You want to do a superhero movie, that's great, but give us something. Okay, very much like Unforgiven and Westerns. Give us something, an angle that we haven't seen before. I think that was why Deadpool was so popular. Okay, it was a whole new take on the whole superhero theme. The third person, the goofiness. Granted, Ryan Reynolds was a perfect casting choice for that. But you see, so really, Ryan Reynolds' first Deadpool, what movie was that in? Was it? The
Wolverine X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Right. Okay. That's a perfect example. That one was superhero cookie cutter. Hey, better yet, let's make him mute. So let's not give him any lines at all.
Yeah. Let's cast the absolute perfect person to play Deadpool and take out every reason why he's going to be good in this role.
Wolverine is a star. Sabretooth is his sidekick. Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, shut his mouth. Sew it up. Okay. Perfect cookie cutter example. Wolverine's a star. As long as he's popping his claws, it's all going to be good.
You know, I wouldn't say that necessarily Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool in Blade 3. I think Ryan Reynolds plays Ryan Reynolds in everything, and it just so happens that works so well for Deadpool because he's playing Deadpool as Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Man. I would agree with that. With that. But the point is that the way the movie was written is very, very different. Okay, the angle that they took on a superhero was very, very different. It was humorous. He was a perfect casting choice. He did not play your typical superhero, just like he didn't play as he didn't play a superhero. What was that movie with Samuel L. Jackson, where he's the bodyguard? My wife's
wife's hitman or something like that.
Yeah.
Or something.
That movie was hilarious, and that was Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds. Okay, but he wasn't the typical assassin. He was Ryan Reynolds' assassin, and that brings something to it.
Yeah,
and I think that's why Deadpool was really popular, because of the fact that they went outside, that cookie cutter niche they always use, and he was irreverent, and you had all the action. You had, that's right. Thanks, Lefty.
Hitman's bodyguard. Thank you.
You had all that. And it was fascinating, right? And then the cameos by X-Men, and he makes fun of that, right? Why is it always just you guys? Where's the rest of the X-Men? Kind of thing. It really gave us something different, and that's what the audience wants right now. And if they keep putting out this cookie cutter crap, guess what? They're going to get the same results. Ant-Man, the last Ant-Man felt very much like all the other Ant-Mans, except that the scenery was very different.
Yeah. Okay. I still haven't seen that one, man. Actually.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna make you nauseous.
I'm gonna watch it when I'm like knee deep into a bottle of tequila one night. That's what I'm gonna do, and then I'll be like, "Well, I don't know what everybody's talking about. This movie's great."
Yeah, another one. I'll tell you, another one. It really struck me that way, and I think that's kind of the direction you got to take these days. Is Watchmen? Okay. That was a completely different look at the same genre. Okay. It was, again, an Outlaw Josie Wales or Unforgiven to Westerns. It was a completely different outlook. They're flawed human beings. Now, of course, you got the boys and everything else. So that's not one I'm saying would necessarily work again. But that's what I'm talking about. Different angle to that genre. And you can make some great things. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What a great conversation today again. And I see that Billy has started getting angry about Punisher and Star Wars again, which always signals the end of the show for me, because I know that that's usually when we hit the 40-minute mark. But we appreciate it. Everybody out there, what do you think about these movie delays? What do you think about Gal Gadot still being Wonder Woman, possibly in the DCU or in the Elseworlds? I don't know. What do you think? Let us know. And thank you for watching this live. Now, Rex, the experience, the EXP. We've hit
We
2,000 subscribers.
We do. And starting Sunday, we'll be doing a slab giveaway, all 9.8s, on each of the different shows. All right. So you got to kind of watch, and you have an opportunity to win. No purchase necessary, as always, to kind of celebrate it. So it'll be spread out on all the shows of the XP until all 20 of them are given away. All right. So, and then we have Nick tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Experience for his original art show. Some great pieces. I'm trying to think. Bagley pieces. I'm trying to think. Ratmund. I want to say Norm Ratmund, and a host of others. But great original art. And of course, Robbie will be back with me and John on Monday for a Comic Collectables show. And what do you got coming up this weekend, buddy?
Well, and I also do want to point out, yes, guys, check out that Monday show, because we'll be giving away a CGC book during that show. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I do want to encourage everybody to check out Dylan's Horror Show tomorrow as they continue Hatchet Fest. They'll be talking about Hatchet 2 and 3 tomorrow night on Dylan's Horror Show. And then the following week, they'll be doing Victor Crowley, then a little bit of a break because we got Horror Fest on the way. Over 50 movies discussed across 3 channels on 32 shows. It's going to be great. Do check out our buddies over at Go Figure Review. They just talked about the new Vampirella action figure. Had lots of good things to say about that. And, of course, the Turtles van from the new Mutant Mayhem. But join us Monday night after my show at the EXP when we conclude Action Fest with a look at the entire trilogy of Beverly Hills Cop, which I love. And I'll tell you this. Having rewatched these films, I always stood up for Beverly Hills Cop 3. I loved that one when I was a kid. For some reason, the one at the theme park, that movie blows. So it's going to be a really fun, interesting conversation. So that's what we got coming up. Rex, thank you so much for joining us, man. I really appreciate you being here and taking time out of your day to be a part of this show with me.
It's always a pleasure to be here, and I can't wait to see what we're going to talk about next Friday.
Yeah, me too. Maybe James Gunn will be like, Henry Cavill's not Superman. He's banned from any Warner Brothers movie.
maybe we can get really going on with Billy and OUG, and we can talk about Star Wars.
I would prefer never to have to talk about Star Wars again on the YouTube, because that's always just a can of worms. Anyway, we love y'all. Y'all have a good one. Station.
Have a good weekend.